warm today.
It wasn't that warm today.
It was pretty warm.
No, it wasn't. It was a little bit cold. I opened the window, then I had to close the window.
When did you open the window? It was cold in the morning.
I opened the window at various times in the day. I tried to reopen it, but I always had to close it again.
I think you're a wuss. It was real warm.
It wasn't warm enough.
It wasn't as warm yesterday.
That's for sure.
But it was warmer today.
I'm wearing shorts, but it's not. I mean, it's warm. It's not cold. It's definitely not cold, but it's not warm enough. We're not quite to where I can go outside and be like, yes.
Yeah, that's a good feeling. But for anyone who's new to this whole Geek Nights thing, maybe you found the website or something. Or
like yesterday.
Or maybe you're one of those people who was in the Ustream doing your thing.
Lol.
But what you're about to hear is not a normal episode of Geek Nights, so if you're looking to find out what this is all about, I recommend you just pick any other episode. Except for any other episode that starts like this.
Yeah. Yeah, when was this supposed to go online here?
Well, originally we were going to do it raw on the
2
Thursday.
weeks ago?
Yeah, and you know what?
Yeah, what took 2 weeks?
You know what? Originally we were going to do it right away. And then, we're hurting for Thursdays, so we're going to save it for a Thursday.
No.
Well, no, remember.
We were going to do it right away, and then you didn't get it done. Just like there are still promises we made in this very episode that you did not fulfill.
Well, you know what? Unlike someone in this room, I have a job that I'm working
but you
at.
still, even if you had the job, you should not have made the promise that you could not keep.
Well, which promises? All I said on the e-commerce was, I'll try to get it done.
No, you said you would get it done.
Nope.
You said, I got that.
I said I got that as in I'll handle it.
Yeah.
And I'll
didn't.
try.
Uh-huh.
Yeah?
You're copping out there.
Yeah. Plus, this was actually done a week and a half ago. We just didn't put it up because I'm going to be gone all next week. So we were trying to spread stuff out and have extra episodes.
That's your post hoc excuse.
It was done a week and a half ago. We just didn't put it
which
up.
still was not in time to be, anyway. So yeah, this is a live show that we recorded and you streamed a couple weeks ago.
I got to say, it's not that interesting to listen to without the video.
Really?
Nah, it's no
But
good.
did we even do anything in the video? I mean, it was mostly just us sitting looking at laptops.
Yeah,
right?
but the video still adds a lot. The audio just doesn't have the same snap or pizzazz.
Well, even so, in this audio... What? Even so, you can hear us share very important information about various announcements, as well as answering listener questions and things like that.
It was a good time, but I'd recommend you should probably, if you want to experience this, just watch the video.
I also think that without the context of the chat room and such, it might make less sense.
Yeah, but no one could keep up with that chat room.
I couldn't keep up with it. I just looked up every now and then when I needed something new to say, and used it as a little seed material.
Yeah, but this was fun, and once I get back from Costa Rica, we'll probably do these on a semi-regular basis in some fashion.
Some sort of weekend fashion?
Yeah, not a, Wednesday night fashion.
It was only Wednesday night because it was...
It was the day.
Yeah, that's right. It was
the day those things happen.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. So,
okay, listen to it.
Enjoy. The audio obviously won't be as great as normal Geek Nights because we used a different kind of microphone that you could actually see in the video sitting kind of between us on the table.
Yeah, that way we could, be in the living room. We wouldn't have to have microphones in our face. We can get the video camera going on. The whole thing.
Yeah, because the lavalier isn't so great. So.
Different setup.
Yep. That's all we really got. Just listen to this. No things of the day or anything. And, again, if you've never listened to Geek Nights before, pick some other episode.
Yeah, this one won't make very much sense at all.
This one's a lot of inside baseball. Do you like a baseball?
Wait, is it actually recording? I pushed the start record button.
I think it's recording.
Okay, now,
Nope, now it's
recording. Okay.
So that's how we start our video.
Yes, that's correct.
No, with us saying, oh, it's recording now.
It was inevitable. There was nothing we could do about that one. So I guess we don't have intro musics with video and such.
It's kind of weird to not have the microphone in front of my face. Like, I'm so used to that I'm kind of hunched over, like, expecting it to be there, and I...
Well, I'm leaning back, but I'm going to have to hunch over to use the computer.
But I can't...
Do you want to try to bring this closer?
Yeah, maybe we should. Mainly, I can't hear my own voice coming back with a slight delay into my ears.
Yeah, that's true.
That's really, like, messing with me. Am I losing the ability to talk in the real world?
I don't know. So the deal with this is today is April Fool's Day, and if you've listened to our show you will know that, over the past many years, we have sort of had a mostly hate, slightly love relationship with April Fool's Day.
Mostly the fact that I'll go to Slashshot and I can't believe anything on the site for 24 hours.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's no way to trust any news. You can't communicate for 24 hours. It's like, when April Fool's Day, before the internet, you could, pranks were sort of, you could see them. People mostly walk and talk
Yeah,
normally.
I mean, granted, you had the situation where your, father calls and says your uncle died, and you're like, ha ha, oh.
That could happen. I'm sure it has.
But the internet is that times a million.
Yeah. I mean, every blog is just all fake. Last year, what was it? Rickrolls everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere I went was a Rickroll. Now,
I think that was the straw, was that everything was a Rickroll.
See, at least if I were YouTube, I would have gone all the way, and I would have just turned every video into a Rickroll all day.
Yeah, but the Rickrolls broke the camel's back there. So we decided that to sort of fix April Fool's Day, right? What we're going to do is we decided, the live part of this was to draw a lot of attention to our movement, was to make it April Truth Day. And we're basically going to tell you, the idea is that you save up amazing but true things, right? You don't tell them to anyone, you hold on to them, the amazing but true things, and then you come out and you tell them on April Fool's Day, because no one will believe it, but it's amazing but true, right? So we have many amazing but true things to tell.
Of course, I will point out, I did do my own April Fool's joke in the forum, and I got a bunch of you, which is sad because I didn't even do it. I just replied to the thread where I did it last year.
Actually, here, did you actually see any good April Fools today?
No, I mean, Reddit, looked like Dig.
That's it?
That's it.
I mean, Quake Live was a little bit funny, but it didn't fool. So
Nothing...
That's the thing, is I hate things that don't fool. It's just, someone will put up a fake news story, but it's obviously fake. It's not fooling anyone. You have to fool someone. Yeah, well,
right? Nothing, like last year, Fark and Board Game Geek got us both.
Board Game Geek was, I think, before Fark did that.
Was it? All I remember is I went to Fark one day.
Because it wasn't last year.
I forgot it was April Fool's Day. And I'm sitting there and I see I'm chatting and responding to someone. Then I see this, moderate button. And I'm like, huh? And I click on it and I see all these options. And I'm like... And I start going to, action, I start banning people. I guess I'm one of those people who would abuse my power.
The one good April Fool's Day I saw was there's this Firefox, combo extension. And if you're, a family or something like that, where everyone uses the same computer, and everyone uses the same browser, doesn't have separate accounts, or if you have access to someone's account because no one uses passwords or something, right? It's really easy to install a Firefox extension in someone else's, Firefox. So this extension, it was actually a bunch of extensions that come in a combo pack, it wouldn't do anything. But on April 1st, it would start doing stuff, and it would start doing more stuff as later in the day.
Oh.
So what it would do, it would just pick links in websites that were legitimate links, but turn them into Rickroll links. So you wouldn't actually have to Rickroll someone. It would just, right? And there were other extensions in there. One would do stuff if you pushed back, it would actually go forward, or if you and as the day went on, it would do it more and more, and you wouldn't know what was causing it, because it was Firefox doing it, right?
It's still not a fool. It's a prank, but it's not a fool, per se.
That's true, it's not a fool. But I did kind of it was clever. And the fact that it only works on it only works on April Fool's Day. The extension actually looks at the date.
Oh, it looks like one of the listeners installed that on someone's computer.
Yeah, you just I thought that was clever, as opposed to many other things.
Huh.
All right, so do you want to do our
big announcements?
Amazing but true. Do you want to start? Where do you want to start with?
We could build up because the announcements
building up is not so bad.
Yeah, so we got a little thing here. I'm sure many of you have seen these, but not everyone has. But we have the wonderful Geeknights t-shirts.
Yes, these t-shirts do exist. You can see them for reals. Bring closer. Hold it there for a little bit. Yes, that is the real Geeknights t-shirt. Okay.
Now, sadly, we sold most of them that we bought at conventions, so we have to order some more before we can really sell them to you guys over the internet.
Yeah, I mean, we have like 20 something of them.
Yeah, and only 7 mediums and 7 extra larges.
Yeah. So the shirts exist. You saw them there, right? We have a web store set up, but it was Rim's responsibility.
And I didn't make it. I got this is all we got left.
And Rim didn't fully set up the web store.
No, I didn't make it.
So we have an empty web store that is at shop.frontrowcrew.com.
So you guys know, the reason for all that is that e-commerce sucks. every solution either doesn't work at all, is really crappy, or does everything but takes like a year to set up. So we decided to go with a full-on solution. Well, I decided to go on the full-on solution. And I said, Scott, I got plenty of time. I'll have this ready by April 1st. And Scott said, all right, Rim, do it. And I said, okay. And then I just didn't.
I know it's a 403. It's going to be not 403 soon enough.
Yep, because we got a couple other little things. Talk about PAX.
What about PAX?
Well,
we're going to it, right?
Yeah, we said we're going. Well, 2 years ago, we said, we said next PAX, which was this previous PAX, we're going no matter what.
So PAX, are we talking about PAX 09 or PAX 10?
PAX.
Well, PAX 010. Oh, PAX. There's numbers in these years. PAX 09 or PAX 010?
The PAX we went to.
Okay.
We'd said the year before we're going, and we went. There are no Geeknights condoms. Shut up.
Why? See, you're supposed to ignore that stupid shit.
I don't know. It stood out. I'm avoiding the other things. But anyway, so we're like, we're going no matter what. And then we decided, all right, since we're going, let's try to get a panel. Like, I didn't think we'd get one. I put in the application. They were real professional, and one thing led to another, and we did Beyond Dungeons & Dragons. And for anyone who wasn't at PAX, people lined up for like an hour and a half to see this thing. Like, it was crazy.
It was very strange.
And then the fact that afterward we got the whole crowd to come to this room, and we ran the panel with Luke Crane and Jared Sorensen and a bunch of other people for like another couple hours. Well, they ran it for a couple hours. We stayed for like an hour, and then we split and went to the concert.
I wasn't going to miss the concerts. What do you think this is?
So I was keeping in touch with the PAX people and deciding, hey, I want to do stuff at the next PAX. Maybe we'll try to get another panel, and we're already doing at least 2 panels at the next PAX in Seattle. So we're doing Beyond Dungeons & Dragons again.
I don't know why we're doing it again.
At the request of PAX.
Yeah.
We're going to do it for an hour, same as last time, in a much bigger room, since, people couldn't get in. And after that, we're going to have, I didn't confirm it with Luke yet, but we're probably going to have Luke Crane and a bunch of other people running demos of Burning Wheel and all these games for like 8 hours for the rest of the day on Friday. It's going to be like PAX Keynote, Beyond D&D, demos all day until the concert. And maybe all night too, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then we've got another panel. I don't want to reveal it yet, but it's something pretty cool that we're going to be doing Saturday at some point at PAX. I'm not going to say what it is yet because it's really cool, and I think it'll be a shock and a surprise. It's called How Great is WoW and Why We Should All Play It.
I thought we weren't doing April Fools.
No,
We're doing
April Fools.
Truths.
It's something to do with the idea that maybe losing games should be just as fun as winning them. It's one of those theoretical, there are no games like this, but what if kind of deals. And the only other PAX thing I got for you is that we're going to be doing a ton of stuff at PAX East in 2010. I can't say exactly what yet, but it's going to be big. Like, there's going to be a lot of Geeknights stuff going on at PAX East. You will be surprised.
PAX East is going to be, they might as well just call it Geeknights Con, right? I mean...
Well, we're not going to run tabletop gaming, but we're going to be running a large section of tabletop gaming, possibly with Luke Crane and his whole crew and a bunch of other people.
Hopefully. We'll see. Oh, someone asked about... We already announced Anime Boston.
Yes. All right, fine. We're going to be at Anime Boston. We're doing like 8 panels there, including The Late Show. We're going to be at the New York Anime Festival. We're going to be at the New York Comic Con. We're going to be at Otakon. We're going to be at Kineticon if they ever email me back.
And PAXes.
And PAXes.
Is that all the conventions?
Uh...
Katsucon, yes, no?
Yeah, next Katsucon, but I can't announce anything about that yet.
Yeah, we don't know about that. So that's the full convention awesomeness.
Yeah, PAX is, for any of you who saw Beyond D&D, compared to all the other panels we've done, it was kind of a step up. And all of our panels are going to be on that level from now on. So we're going to do fewer, more awesome panels. Faster, more intense.
Yeah. So you want to talk about something local?
Something local?
So, we live in Beacon, New York, right? Which is, it's sort of, it's a city, but it's not like a big city like New York. There aren't any tall buildings here. It's just got a long, sort of busy main street surrounded by houses. And it's, it's in upstate New York. It's not too far upstate, but it's not too far downstate. It's far enough away from New York not to cost a fortune to live in, but it's close enough that you can take the train to New York City. It's a nice in-between kind of place. We got trees, we got houses, we got a main street, we got the Hudson River. It's sort of everything in one place. And we're walking down the main street, and we see a sign on the main street, and the sign says, Retro Arcade Museum. And it has a picture of an arcade cabinet on it.
So we look in the window and there's nothing. Like, there's nothing in this
Well,
building.
it doesn't really have windows. The only window is on the front door.
Well, we look through, like,
and
this-
the door has shades on the inside.
So we're like peeking around and we see like this kind of empty room. We can't really tell. And there's an H&R Block sharing the building.
Yeah. So it was, it was very like, why is there a retro arcade museum in our town? Is it, where are the geeks at? Obviously, right, even if there's nothing in this building here, this sign exists. This sign was not here before. That means recent geekery has been in this place. And it is our duty as the geeks of this town to seek it out.
So we're thinking, all right, we got to figure out what this is. And I'm thinking it's probably something that failed. I'm just going to buy the sign from whoever that was.
Yeah, I mean, because, there was that really bad anime store that was in the mall, in the Poughkeepsie Mall.
Oh, the guy selling bootlegs?
Yeah, and he bought a retail space across from the baseball stadium, but never moved into it, or moved in and moved out, but his sign is still there.
I don't know what happened to
It's
that
still
guy.
empty. I drove by it the other day. It's still empty. So... there's been geekery, and there have been instances of signs for things going up, but the businesses never coming to actually exist.
Last year in the summer, I was riding my bike, and I sat on a bench in Beacon, and someone had, like, carved into this thing, I heart Naruto, OMG.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway,
so I went back. We were trying to eat dinner. Scott didn't come, but I was out, and we were walking toward a place to eat dinner, and the whole crew, like, we had the whole front row crew there almost. And we see that it's open. So we go in. And there is, in fact, a retro arcade museum there, and the guy who runs it is, like, the coolest guy in the world. And I'm not talking retro, like, Pac-Man.
yeah, we're not talking about, there is a Pac-Man machine is too new for this arcade, right? I mean, Pong is probably the newest thing he's got in there, right? You're thinking, wait a minute. Pong was the first arcade machine. How can there possibly be something older than Pong? Is it just all pinball machines?
These are like mechanical arcade games from the 50s and 60s, made by like Sega.
Yeah, I mean, people don't really realize that, pinball, is a mechanical game, right? Modern pinball machines are digital, that have a few mechanical parts, like the ball and the flippers, right? But, old pinball machines were 100% mechanical. They had solenoids and gears and chains and
The score
springs.
is a bunch of digits that scroll physically with gears.
Yeah, just like an odometer. So people don't remember, punk kids these days, that there were other, mechanical arcade machines, analog arcade machines that were not pinball. I mean, you ever seen one of those, target practice games that actually shoots little tiny things and hits little tiny targets? And, like, it'll look like a Wild West scene, and they'll shoot, like, the barrel, and then, like, a hobo will come out.
Yep, or Ninja Gun is the best one. You just have a rifle and you shoot ninjas.
Yep.
Physical ninjas flying across this thing. And the way these things work is, like, amazing. We interviewed the guy, actually. We interviewed him for quite some time. He's, like, the coolest guy in the world. And we're going to put that interview up for you. And we're going to make a series of videos about all these machines in this arcade.
And apparently the guy has a lot more machines that are in his storage facility and not in his little arcade, because the arcade is not big enough to hold them all.
Yep. But
he also does private parties. That's pretty much all he does is private parties. You can't just walk in.
and his life, he had quite a life too, and
He did have
he
quite a
had
life.
some stories, so we'll be talking to him a lot. But the gist is, the moral of the story, suffice it to say, we're gonna put up this interview, and then we're gonna make all these YouTube videos. You're gonna see one by one a bunch of videos of all these different machines, one by one. And at the end of that series, we're going to have the first Geeknights Con at this place. We're gonna have a party. You'll be able to pre-register.
Not too many people can come.
You're going to have
be
to
very small.
pre-register through the e-commerce site that I'm building.
Yeah, we're gonna sell tickets.
You'll be able to buy tickets there. We'll probably give away some tickets to people who want to come.
Yeah.
And this place is amazing. Like, I can't express to you how crazy it is.
Not only that, but the the place is what's it called? I forgot what I was gonna say.
What were you gonna say?
I forget.
It's cheap. It's small. It's cool. He's got that kitchen in the back with the subway doors.
Yeah, I forget. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so yeah, there's gonna be awesome things going down at this retro arcadey place, and that's pretty big deal. Because when you might not think it's a big deal now, why are they announcing this, right? But when you see this place, it's gonna be a big deal. All right, so next up on our list of awesome but true things. So in terms of other videos we're doing, if you don't notice, since I have no job, I've been doing more video type things, mostly with this webcam. For some reason, I got for almost free a camcorder because of Sony points on my Sony card.
It's pretty crappy.
It's good for, standard definition video recording, right? And it's, the lens is pretty good, and, it's got a big old hard drive in it. So you can actually, if I got another battery for it, I could record for like hours and hours and hours, right, with no problem. And I bought it because it actually has a hard drive in it, not like a lot of these other ones that have like an SD card and you can barely record anything, right?
Yep.
So, I tried to do some video with that thing, but the problem is, A, I was lazy, and B, you can't use it as a webcam. You can only use it to record and then drag the files off and then edit them and then put them on YouTube or whatever, right? And, I started doing that a little bit, but I sort of didn't stick with it. Now that I have no job, I could probably do a little more, and I probably am going to. I mean, I have a whole bunch of Scott's boxes, like, in the hopper.
Yeah,
right?
he's been doing them.
I just gotta, like, cut up a bunch of them. I could probably upload a whole bunch to YouTube tomorrow. But I think, I got this webcam here. And since we got the webcam, we've been using it like crazy. So
Yeah?
I think really streaming is much better for us than recording and editing.
At least for now. I mean, we've got a lot of recording, editing things in the hopper, but as you know, our hopper is longer than we can ever get to, as long as either of us is working.
Yeah, I mean, only things that we promise are guaranteed to make it out of the hopper. Other things in the hopper might stay there forever. But I think what I'm going to do is, A, I'm going to put up a bunch of those Scott's boxes that I've recorded already. But I'm also thinking about, like, as long as I don't have a job, maybe I can, like, if I scheduled, like, Scott's box with the webcam, maybe I could do something like that, like, be like, at this time, every day or two, I'd have read a comic, right? And I would, I'll go, and not only will I, tell you about it, but people will also, it'll be an interactive kind of show,
Yep.
just like this one.
Plus, with the idea here, like what we're doing here is, we're doing this live, but then we're going to record the video and put it up somewhere. And we're recording the audio, and tomorrow we'll just put the audio up as a show. Obviously edited get rid of the long silences that inevitably will occur.
Yep. All right. So what else do you want to?
What else? You got Vim open there?
Yes. Do you want to talk about the? Do you want to do this one?
The second one?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should, but that's something we kind of, I don't know if we'll actually get to it. I worry.
You worry?
I think we'll get to it.
You think?
Should we set a date now, thus forcing ourselves?
Do you want to set a date for it?
Or set a time frame?
I don't know.
Let's hold
I
off
don't
on
know
that
about
one.
no time frame, but we can still say we're gonna do it.
Yeah, it's something that we talked about doing when we first started. We just never did it.
Yeah. So basically, we thought for a long time ago, we had the idea to sort of, have, I don't know, like an award or sort of an order.
Yeah, in order of nights, perhaps? Geeknights?
Yeah, I mean, it's the obvious joke, right? Because, and it's the obvious pun in our show title is Geeknights, but, nighttime, but also Knights of the Round Table. And we were thinking there should be some sort of, we should be able to label certain people like, you are a Geek Knight, and you other people are not,
And we toyed with, originally we thought maybe we'll have people nominate and we'll give it to famous people, but then we decided that's lame, so we gave up on that. And...
Yep, so I think we should, possibly, like, get an actual trophy, and maybe annually or something like that.
Yeah,
Basically,
we'll do a bunch to start, because there are 4 of you out there right now who deserve it already.
Yeah, and, so
you should know who you are.
Yes, a Kniggets, right? And we should give out awards to the people who are the Geek Knights. And it's mostly, it's a listener recognition kind of thing. So you can look forward to that. And, we have one more?
Yeah, I don't know if we need to bother with that one, though. Does anyone even care?
I don't know. We don't really need to...
Well, we can move on, then.
No, I think we have to announce this, though.
Yeah. Well, someone found out about it early.
They did. Someone did find out about it early, but that was my bad for not being diligent. I was sort of doing security through obscurity a little bit.
Who found it, by the way? Or did you just see...
I was just in this chat room streaming, and someone was like, "Hey, blah," and pasted the URL in there.
So how you silenced them, I assume?
Well, I was like, great. Thanks.
See, that is when you turn that into a Rickroll.
I could have, but instead I just did. So, it was Mike2175. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, so today we must announce that we have finished the new website of FrontRowCrew.com.
It's up.
It's not up. I have to
Well-
type. I have to type a bunch of things to make it up, and I'm
It's-
gonna do it right now.
It's up. You just can't see it yet. We can see it.
That's right. So excuse me while I type. And...
Oh, while Scott does that, a lot of questions have been queuing up here actually in the Twitter. Almost all of them about gaming and game theory and Burning Wheel.
Really?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Hey guys, so you cover a little bit of Beyond D&D sometime soon? Heard a lot about it. Would like to know more. For anyone who was at PAX, you saw it obviously, and we did it at Kineticon too. And I think we actually did it better at Kineticon because we were. It was so informal. Like we'd never done it before. That was the test run. So we show up to this panel. We've done 7 other panels that day. We're exhausted, utterly wrecked. Emily got us Chinese food. We set it down in front of ourselves. We just eat this Chinese food and give this panel, and it was like the best thing ever. But we talk about how Dungeons and Dragons, as good as it was for learning how to play role-playing games, or all of us got into role-playing with it, or all those sorts of things, it's a terrible role-playing game, because it doesn't really have anything to do with role-playing. And it's a combat game, but there's no other sort of conflict resolution. We basically talk for an hour about exactly what it is that Dungeons & Dragons is, and what it isn't, and what a role-playing game is, and what a role-playing game isn't. And then we get the audience to agree to a definition of a role-playing game, which is basically a conflict resolution mechanism for collaborative storytelling. And then we talk about all the games that actually do that pretty well, like Burning Wheel, Inspectors.
The games there are a lot of games that do it very well. We
Yeah.
don't know all of them.
We talk about, we give like 4 examples in the panel, and we kind of take people through them, and it's our headlining panel right now, and we're probably going to do it at like every con this year, and then we're going to record some sort of video final version and then just can it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it's about.
Yeah. That basically, it's about mechanism design and conflict resolution in tabletop role-playing games.
Yep. Mechanism design, by the way, is the idea that if you have a game, you can design the rules of a game to force someone to do something, or you can design the rules of a game to encourage someone to do something without forcing them. Like, mechanism design of a game like Burning Wheel is to create a story that keeps complicating itself and going in directions you wouldn't expect, and always pushes people to, like, purposefully screw something up at the critical moment, or lose as opposed to win, and it's just as awesome. And D&D kind of encourages this idea that you can always solve something by fighting with it. I guess we do need a geeky quilt. This is not a geeky quilt.
No. Does someone want to make one for us? That's probably a good idea.
Actually, this couch, it is called the Fucker. Pretty much, like, that is the name of this couch, because we moved into this house. Yeah, this house is actually pretty big. We found it... Did we ever tell the story of, like, how we got this house?
You can just keep telling stories. It's going to take a little bit.
Alright. So, we live in a pretty big house, actually, especially considering we pay almost nothing for this thing. It's gigantic. But we're looking for a place to live. I'd been living in the Mid-Hudson Valley for like 2.5 years, working for IBM, all this stuff. Scott was at RIT, and they lived with his parents for a while, and he moved around. And I was like, Scott, just move to Beacon or Poughkeepsie or somewhere in this area. We can both work in the city. We can get everyone to move out here. It'll be awesome. So we're doing this. I'm trying to get him to move out. I'm looking at houses and apartments and everything. I don't have a lot of money yet. IBM was paying me like $45K a year, which just wasn't enough, especially for this area.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, I find like these 5 places, and I look at them all, and there's 2 that are, well, there's one that's a really good candidate, and I'm like, all right, this is it. We're definitely gonna move into this place. I gotta get Scott to look at it, and we'll just do it. So he takes the train up, and he stays in my crappy little apartment in Fishkill. I believe, didn't the heat stop working that night?
It was rough.
I fall asleep, and Scott's on the floor, and it's like a studio apartment in this French style, like it's this really shady building I was living in, but I was paying like $400 a month. And wow, this story just like keeps spawning all these tangents. So I wake up and I'm kind of chilly, and I look over and I see Scott is curled into this like fetal position with the one tiny sheet I gave him, basically dead, and the room is like 35 degrees because the boiler failed overnight. So we go look at this apartment. It's in some lady's basement. It's beautiful. But it's like this basement apartment in someone's house, and it's not that big. And we're like, you want to move in? Let's move in. Let's do it. We're like, all right, we just have to look at this one other house, this one other place. We're not going to move into it. We'll come back, sign the stuff, all set. I didn't even want to come see this place because I'd already found the perfect place. And this house, I tried to look at it 2 times before, and one time, like, the scheduling messed up. and the other time I couldn't find it, and like I gave up, and I wasn't
Well,
able
when
to
we
get
tried
it.
to come, we couldn't find it.
Yeah, and then we couldn't find it again. So finally,
That was your fault for not getting the name of the street right.
well, because I swore she said Coughlin Street, but it was Conklin Street, and there are both streets exist in Beacon, and the same address exists on both
no,
streets.
you thought it was like Christina Street.
No,
or
it was
some
Coughlin
shit.
Street.
Anyway.
So we went to Coughlin Street, and there's a 7 Coughlin Street, and it's definitely not it. So we sort it out, and we go, and we're like, all right, let's just look at this stupid thing, say no, be nice to this lady, and then go. And she takes us into this gigantic house, and I'm looking at it, and it's gigantic. So finally I'm like, so who lives upstairs? So she's like, oh, you want to see the upstairs? The upstairs was part of it. And it cost less than the other place, so we moved into it. So we had to move all our stuff out of Rochester. I rented, I think, 16-foot truck. They didn't have any 16-foot trucks when I showed up. They gave me a 24-foot semi-truck.
That was fun.
It was like the worst thing ever. So Scott took like a little bit of stuff in his car and drove here.
That was the tempo.
Oh my God, it was. You're like, didn't you? You lost the muffler, not that time, but some other time on the Mid-Hudson Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So
No, on the Newburgh Beacon.
Newark Beacon, the Hamilton Fish Bridge.
Yes.
So me and Pete in the front row crew load up this 24-foot fucking truck, and we drive it through the mountains on Route 17 all the way here, listening to like NPR and just whatever we could find on the radio. It was this horrible drive. It took forever. I could barely drive this car. I was having so much trouble with this truck. Like, I couldn't get it out exit ramps. I ran over stuff, like, on the sidewalk. 'Cause it was gigantic. I couldn't drive it.
Like when you drove down that residential street.
Yeah, I, like, in Rochester, trying to get it out of the place. Like, I was running over things. It was horrible. Eventually, I get the stupid truck here. Like, and we start to unpack it. And we thought it'd take, like, an hour. It took us, like, 5 hours. If Pete hadn't skipped work the next day and hadn't stayed and lugged all this stuff for us, because Pete is a beast of a man, we would have died. Like, the police would have found me and Scott under this couch, dead. So, Pete helps us move this couch in. This thing weighs, I don't know, 400 pounds?
That's pretty close.
It's got a steel frame. There's a whole queen-size bed in here, but the whole thing is the steel frame. We had no way. There was no possible way we could get this thing in. Pete could barely get it in. We put a hole in the wall bringing it in. We got it here.
No, it wasn't actually a hole. I fixed it.
Well, it was like
a
this
mark on the wall. I fixed
scar.
it. Yeah, I fixed it.
You don't need a license to drive a 24-foot truck. It is the biggest truck you can drive in New York without having a commercial license. So I could legally drive it. Plus, back then, I think I still had a Michigan driver's license.
That's interesting.
Yeah, remember, I didn't get a New York license until relatively recently.
All right.
Remember,
ready?
I got pulled over with that expired Michigan plate from like 4 years ago?
All right, let's see if this works.
All right.
This is gonna be hilarious. It's gonna break.
Well, do we have any way to tell? Because I think you only
go
allowed...
to frontrowcrew.com.
But didn't you only allow...
What do you mean?
Oh, you probably got rid of the access filter. Anyway, let's see. All right.
Just go to regular
Oh,
old
that's the forum. I
frontrowcrew.com.
don't want to go to that.
Remember, you're testing this website right now. I need to know. Oh, by the way, FeedBurner's probably gonna stop working. We're gonna need to sort something out with them.
Yeah, it'll start up again probably. All right, loading. Waiting.
Great.
Loading. Still loading. Nothing's happening.
That's pretty great. How about I'll check the shop.
If the shop's fine, then you know that the
Mm.
Huh.
Mm.
What'd you do?
I knew it wasn't gonna work.
All right, well, you keep working on it, I
Yeah.
guess. So we finally get this couch in, and Pete plops down on it, and he looks at us and he says, "I hereby dub this couch the fucker. May it rest in peace." And he told us that he would never help us move again for the rest of our lives.
People are seeing it.
Oh, they're seeing the website?
Is it going slow?
I can't see it still.
I can't see it either.
Are they just lying to us?
It could be lying.
Wait, did you load it? Because you had that rule that we could only get to it from here. Then the beta? Did you get rid of
here
that?
it goes. No, I changed that up.
Huh, why won't it load for me?
Oh, there it goes. I think it's just slow because we're sort of DDoSing it now. I'm gonna spruce it up with
It
some,
shouldn't be a DDoS if only like 1,000 people are hitting it.
No. I'm gonna
I still can't get to it.
I'm gonna power it up some. You just have to wait. Just don't touch anything.
Yeah, we didn't write all the text. A lot of that's in my court.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that Rim. I did all the work, most of it.
Yeah,
The design is by our friend Kat. She did all the photoshops. I did all the HTMLs and the CSS and all that other business.
Yep, I worked at a job and got money unrelated to this the whole time.
Yeah. So, anything that's, it's not 100% done, it's like 90% done, but it's, it's ready to roll.
Because I'm sick of the fact, like, what really, I hate to call out Anime World Order, because I love those guys, but what really, like, the impetus for me to have this website and our e-commerce and everything was that, what do you mean it's all Web 2.0? I hate that term.
Hate the term.
It's not even really that Web 2.0.
Not really.
Web 2.0 is not that. Web 2.0 is like big.
Oh, wow, the forum is hurting too. Let me,
Is there something going on with the,
Let me check the CPU usage on the actual
Yeah,
server.
we never did a stress test or a regression test.
We didn't do any sort of test.
Alright, well, you check that.
I'm checking.
But, Anime World Order... You keep saying it's Web 2.0. How is it Web 2.0? Whoever just said that, I want you to post what Web 2.0 means, and then why you think this website is somehow Web 2.0. Because I don't think you know... Yes, interactivity, user-generated content, also, not just interactivity, but interlinking between multiple things. Our website doesn't do any of that. It's just a blog. It just looks different from WordPress.
WordPress could look like that. You could just make a theme for WordPress that looks like that.
The only reason we didn't use WordPress was that it sucks to make WordPress do this, and it was much better to use Django.
Yeah. Plus, with Django, we can do lots of specialized things. I'll tell you a secret. There is a thing of the day RSS feed. If you go to /feeds/TOTD, let me type that into the chat room there.
Sexy font does not equal Web 2.0.
Meanwhile, this font is not sexy. All these fonts and things are from Yahoo. I use the Yahoo.
Oh, suddenly the Twitter's
CSS.
exploding here.
Is it really exploding now?
Yeah, I just suddenly got a whole bunch of... Let me refresh this. Boop, 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 boop.
That URL will take you to a feed of things today.
It's not Web 2.0. There are no reflections or lens flares. Two people made the same joke at the same time.
I like how some people think Web 2.0 is about graphic design, and other people think it's about, Ajax and doing HTTP requests without refreshing the page.
See, I think there's the difference between people who know about the front end and people who know about the back end. I mean, like, you can always tell the people who don't know about the back end, and I can't blame anyone for not knowing about the back ends of these things, but if someone asks you to design a website, you can tell in 5 seconds if they know how websites work or not. If they give you a Photoshop picture and they're like, yeah, make my website look like that, then clearly they don't know.
Okay, here, let me try something here.
Alright, checking stuff out.
Yeah. I think we spawned too many Apache processes.
Is that, maybe you need to optimize the spawning of Apache processes?
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn the website off. It's off. Ah, see, there's still some there. They got to clean those up.
Oh, Apache 2. Oh!
See, they're getting out of control, even though I turned that shit off.
There's dead air. Oh my god.
That's fine. This is what this is for. They're helping us out.
They are helping us out. We probably should have done some sort of stress test.
No, it's alright.
All I had to do is write a wget script. Alright, let's go through this Twitter.
Yeah, let's start. Alright, so now we're going to start taking any comments or questions from anyone while I finish this business here.
If one of you were to die, would the show go on? What if one of you were to die during recording?
Well, if we were to die during recording, probably to be called a 911 and
I'd probably leave the recording going, but I would stop editing or muting, coughing or anything. You'd probably hear a lot of scary stuff going on in the background.
Yeah, you'd hear paramedics talking and
maybe
such.
one of us doing CPR. I don't have a funny answer for that.
Yeah, what kind of question is that?
If one of us died, if Scott died, I would keep doing Geeknights. I would probably stop doing Geeknights for a month or so while I sorted out Scott's affairs vis-a-vis me, because our affairs are actually pretty entwined at this point, what with Geeknights and everything. But Geeknights would continue, and honestly, I think Geeknights will continue for even if we I moved to Costa Rica, we would probably keep doing Geeknights and Front Row Crew and all these things in some sort of form. Like, our internet presence will not die until both of us are dead. And if I have this impression that if this stuff is continuing to the point where we're in our 70s, we will probably pass the mantle on to someone else.
Yeah, I mean, there's just, by the time we, that's so far in the future, things won't even be the way they are now.
Will you sell t-shirts on the store in the website? Yes! There's an e-commerce site.
Yeah,
didn't put them in
Rim
yet.
failed to put them there.
I didn't finish setting up the e-commerce yet, but yes, you'll be able to buy. The impetus for all that. So Anime World Order, they were like, yeah, we got hoodies. If you want to buy one, send us an email. And at that moment, I said, we are never going to do something like that. So I'm making this e-commerce be totally awesome. No, if Scott died, I would not have sex with his corpse. Thank you, Ustreamer 83613.
I told you not to recognize the stupid questions.
It was a question.
It's a stupid question.
No, there were much stupider questions I'm skipping.
Really? I haven't
Yeah.
been looking. I'm still trying to get the website.
I'm kind of
up
keeping an
there.
eye on that. But seriously, this is something that the internet hasn't had to deal with yet in any big form. But someday, the people who do Penny Arcade are going to die. Someday, like all the people who do these things that we read and love are going to either stop doing them or die and thus stop doing them. And I have yet to see any internet thing deal with that effectively yet. I feel like we will deal with it. I don't know what like Penny Arcade will do. I don't know what. I think Mega Tokyo will just stop. I think it'll stop long before Fred Gallagher dies.
Mm-hmm.
But plus, 80 years from now, I mean, what was going on in the world? Well, I guess 60 years ago, because we're not zero. What was going on in the world 60 years ago? World War I was going on. The world is going to change a lot by then. But,
Actually, World War I was more than 60 years ago.
yeah, but not that.
Actually, World War II was more than 60 years ago.
Oh, yeah. I guess you're right.
Yes, I am right. Mister, you're yelling at me for not knowing histories. Look who doesn't know. I'm going to reboot the whole Linode.
Whole Linode? Oh,
Yep.
snap.
Rebooting the whole thing.
But anyway, yes, we will try to keep... Geek Nights will be passed on to someone, most likely. So it'll probably go on forever. And the Front Row Crew will eventually have new people, I guess. Maybe the children of all the people in the Front Row Crew now.
Who knows? There's got to be, I mean, if we build a brand that has value, why would the brand ever, stop being used? If it's a valuable brand, why would people, Like,
So-
Henry Ford isn't there, but the Ford Motor Company is. So the only way that Geeknights would go away is if the brand loses all value and no one wants to keep it around.
So your mom just said, do you remember World War II? And the first... the Katsucon where I met Daryl Surratt, I happened to be drunk at the time, but me and Scott Johnson and Lara and a bunch of other people got stinking drunk, and we were hanging out at this con, and we had one of those everyone's drunk conversations, and someone asked, do you remember World War II? Like, that war? And the conversation that spawned from that was one of the most epic conversations ever, much like the Barry argument. Sadly, we never get drunk at cons anymore. Well, Scott never got drunk, but I'm always busy at conventions now doing Geek Nights. I haven't gotten drunk at a con in a long time, and I guess I never will again. Yeah, if you have a question that you actually want to get answered, you're going to have to tweet it to us, because the chat room's scrolling by too fast for me to really see everything in there.
Yeah, tweet to, at Geeknights. It doesn't matter if Geeknights is following you or not. We'll see it. You can also suffice to say us. That's not a bad idea, since we have suffice to say. Oh, wait, but it's not up.
No, yeah.
Forget about suffice to say.
Forget about that. I guess you can send an email or a chat to geeknights@frontrowcrew.com. I'm kind of watching that.
Yeah. This will be ready in a second, I think.
So Beyond D&D, Great Minds Think Alike, blah, 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 blah. The same few people keep tweeting over and over again here. No one else is.
Probably because those are the Tweety people.
Yeah, I'm not Tweety. I've never used TweetDeck until just now. So I like it. I'll probably start using it.
Yeah, alright, now the website is working and fast.
Not bad. Oh, I guess people can hear the new message alert that keeps popping up every now and then.
Yeah.
You're not hearing all of them, because I'm kind of suppressing a lot of these. Once I got an email at Carl Horn, blah, blah, blah. That's not a question. That
It doesn't have to be a question, it could just be a comment that, elicits a response.
That has a question mark, but it is not a question, nor is it interesting. Oh, they're starting to chat me. Here we go.
Is the website starting to be slow?
Rim? Yes, I'm here. I will respond back, in fact. So someone asked the question, what is strategy? Because apparently, on the show last night, we kept talking about games we wanted. And I think we mentioned, as we always do, strategy and tactics. Now, we want games that have these sorts of things. Strategy has different meanings depending on whether you're looking at the colloquial meaning, the game theory meaning, the military meaning. Like, I remember Bruce and I had a long conversation over New Year's about how, like, in the military, strategy or strategic means the theater. Like, you've got a war. Like, say, World War II, there was the Asian theater, or the Pacific theater, and there was the European theater. So, strategy is the kind of overarching plan, or, how you're dealing with the entire theater of war. Like, the strategy of World War II in Europe was all of Europe combined. Like, that is strategy. Or, like, now strategic often means global thermonuclear war, those sorts of things. That level of strategic thought. In game theory, strategy means you are not making decisions anymore. A strategy is you have an expert system. You have a specific plan. You know for every situation that can occur in the game what your reaction will be, and what your reaction will be to all the reactions to that action. So if you have a strategy in a game, that means that you don't need to be there anymore. You are no longer making decisions at this point. Colloquially, and what most board game people will say, a strategy is simply, this is my plan going forward. Like, I'm thinking, here are the next 10 moves I'm going to make, as opposed to, someone else makes a move, how do I react to that? I'm thinking about this right now. Or someone surprised me, I don't know what to do. That is tactics.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go into more detail. I don't want to talk about math. I mean...
Yep. Alright, the site seems to be working for me and is relatively fast. So...
I like our website, to be honest. So poke it, try to break it, let us know what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, find if there's something wrong with it, tell me if there's something missing, tell me if there's a missing episode, anything like that.
So, I guess as long as Scott is not working 9 to 5, he can make updates to this pretty readily. So, make your suggestions now. Once Scott is working 9 to 5 again, then it's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah. But actually, because the site isn't WordPress anymore, it's actually a lot easier to do things than it would have been. So, awesomeness all around.
So, one thing, someone asked the
Alright,
question.
So I guess we're...
I want to point out.
Back to paying attention to tweets.
How do you tweet someone?
Go to twitter.com, sign up, and then do type in the box, at Geeknights, space, and then whatever you want to say.
Well, I would say more honestly, it seems like there are people who use Twitter and people who don't use Twitter. And the differentiation between these people is this, like, crazy gulf. And I don't know which side is better to be on. But it amazes me how many people just, like, have no idea what Twitter is to this day.
Yeah, but then there are other people who are, like, using it, but they don't get it.
But then
there are other people that get it and don't use it.
But
then there are other people that think they get it and don't use it.
Then there are the people who just literally live on Twitter.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
So, I don't know if you want to say anything, but someone asked a really interesting question. Considering your belief that the Front Row Crew might continue through its children, would you call the Front Row Crew a guild? Because a long time ago...
A guild is specifically an economic construct.
Well, again, economic definition, colloquial definition. But Scott actually had a good answer for this. Remember when someone asked, how can I join the Front Row Crew? Didn't you say that that's like asking, how can I join the Rubens?
Something like that.
The Front Row Crew is a family. I mean, it's at the point where, literally, we are a family. Like, we are closer than a lot of families I've seen are.
Or what did Emily's mom say? We tribe?
A tribe. Well, there was an article in the New Yorker about that, I think, about how there's this new... It's not new in the scheme of humanity, but it's new in America, that people seem to be forming these kind of... Instead of, like, nuclear family or extended family or friend groups, there are these tribes of, like, 20-something people who maybe went to college together or know each other in some sort of form and decided to, like, they have a relationship that is well beyond friendship and is definitely on the level of family, but it's a self-selected family. It's literally a tribe. And this is really occurring more and more in urban culture. Like, in cities, there are tribes of 20-something hip people getting together. And she pointed out that the Front Row Crew basically is straight up a tribe, like, by all the definitions that they have of tribe. And I don't know what I can say. We are a tribe. We are a family. Front Row Crew is almost a surname at this point. So a lot of you ask us all the time, how can I join the Front Row Crew? And that is literally like asking, how do I join the DeCosters?
Yeah, you can join the Front Row Crew fan club.
Yeah.
You could join that.
But to join the Front Row Crew, short of marrying in, and even that is not a guarantee. If you marry someone in the Front Row Crew, that does not mean...
There have been many, there's been a lot of people who have, sort of come and gone, and some people have come and stayed for quite a long time and then still gone. I mean, there were people that were here for like years, and then they went and we don't even talk to them anymore.
There's really only one person who left the Front Row Crew, though.
Yeah, but there were, there's people who become, you have friends and then you have acquaintances. They're just like people you know, but you don't really hang out with them, right? So there's a lot of people like that. They sort of come in and we hang out with them a bunch and we know who they are, but we don't really, we're not like, with them a whole bunch.
But it's interesting how the crew has there are people who are friends of or acquaintances of the crew, as opposed to of any one of us in particular.
Yep. It's also interesting to see when there be people that were both really close, were really close to these two people, but they've never met each other.
Yeah, so we had a few people like that, or also we've had
on New Year's, we had people coming. It was best friend and other best friend both show up on New Year's. They never met each other in their whole lives.
Well, part of that, for the longest time in the world, there was this kind of problem where because Scott, the original Front Row Crew, the original core Front Row Crew was 6 or 7 people. It was me and Scott and Alex and Pete and Katsu and all these people at RIT who became friends at this club. And then we started spreading and we had all these different people around, but Scott's typing to someone up there, so I can't see the chat anymore, but that's fine. So the crew, I forgot where I was going with this, to be honest, but the crew founded itself as one thing and then it grew into other things. I kept trying to talk. I forgot where I was going with that.
Don't worry about it. Let's see what people are saying here.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid becoming just the show about the Front Row Crew.
Here, you and Scott are going to split a pizza. What is on it?
Scott hates everything I like on pizza.
Well, that's because you only like the really bad shit.
What? I like Hawaiian pizza. I like sausage on a pizza.
I don't like sausage.
I like mushrooms. You like mushrooms?
Mushrooms are fine. See, I only don't like fruits.
I like fruits.
I mean, like a tomato, I guess technically a fruit, but we're talking about, pineapple, no good. I don't like ham. I don't like...
Pineapple is key, I agree.
And I don't like sausage, right? But anything else, you could put the meatball, the chicken, the pepperoni, the mushrooms, the peppers, the onion, 10 kinds of cheese, right? As long as it's not pineapple, ham, or sausage, everything else is awesome.
Yep.
I guess... anchovies are a little bit
I honestly, I don't hate anchovies, but I don't
not gonna seek them out.
Yeah,
it's and I mean the thing is, depending it's weird because actually the sort of the bad sausage actually tastes less like sausage, so it's a little more tolerable, right, for me. And I'll eat a pizza that has the bad sauce, but if it has like awesome sausage, what other people would consider to be awesome sausage. I would not eat it because it's too sausage.
But then again, you don't like ham either. It's not like you avoid it for religious reasons.
No, you kidding? I eat mad bacons. Yeah. I eat mad...
But I think it's because you didn't...
I eat pork fried rice.
You didn't grow up eating
roll.
Ham, so ham is a taste that I guess if you're not... I've noticed people who didn't eat ham when they were young don't like a glazed ham.
Well, I mean, it's like anyone who didn't... usually you develop taste when you're young, and if people who don't eat a lot of fish when they're young... don't like fish later, even if they're open to eating it. They'll just I'll try fish. I'm an adult now. I didn't eat it when I was a kid, right?
Yep.
And very rarely will they like it just because the connections in their brain have lined up to where it's these taste good, these taste bad, right? So if it's a fish taste comes in and it's probably lined up to bad, your brain has to rearrange to to make it taste good to you.
Yep. But the issue we had, just so I can finish this thought before I lose it, people were, with the Front Row Crew, the problem we had was that Scott and I, because our apartment was the hangout apartment, because we had furniture, that was really the only, it's weird how these small things, become, into these bigger things later, but literally, Scott and I were the only people who had furniture in our apartment for a long time. So, the whole Front Row Crew would always hang out in our apartment. So... we were the center of the Front Row Crew, social scene at RIT for a long time. And then eventually James saved us, because he started having parties at his place, and then we had parties at Capstone. But as a result, there were a lot of people in the crew who only knew us and didn't know anyone else in the crew for a long time.
Yep.
It was really weird.
It was kind of weird. Someone asked if we're ever going to return or change the show's. They said if we're going to change the show schedule again or change the show schedule format, right? So it's not a specific question of are we going to go back to 4 shows? Is it going to be 2 shows forever? And I think most likely it's not going to be 2 shows forever. We're going to, Geeknights has been, it's the internet, so we can do whatever we want. So, part of the plan is, it's going to keep changing forever. It's going to change with the world, If we suddenly, right now, video and audio or on the internet is what comes along. But, if people start getting, like, VR broadcasters or something, we're going to keep moving forward and changing things as our lives change and as technology changes and as the world changes. So, most likely, Geeknights is not going to stay the same forever. There's no way.
But we definitely plan to keep the radio show because I feel like audio-only content needs to exist forever. And I want to, even if like it dies completely, I want to be one of those people who just like holds on to it and makes sure it exists in some form forever. But I think there are other people like that too. I'm not too worried.
Yeah. So someone asked, why did we change it to 2 shows a week? I've noticed there have been a few questions that have come up in here that were questions that are answered in episodes. And it's really strange because someone here says, why are PC FPS far superior to console FPS? We did a whole show on that, right? So wait a second, though. By asking that question, that means this person knows we think PC FPS are superior. If they know that we think PC FPS
well, it's not hard
superior,
to know that. We say that like every episode.
Right.
Like
so
I start every episode with "Wow sucks."
that means that they're listening. So shouldn't they have listened to the one where we said why? I mean, we said but if someone over there is like, why did you change it to 2 episodes a week? Did you not listen to the episode where we talked about changing it to 2 shows?
Here's
a week?
the real reason we switched to 2 episodes. It wasn't just that it was affecting our lives, which it was. Like I enjoy doing Geek Nights, but I also wanted to have a lot more free time to live. Before we did Geek Nights, when we lived here, we watched like 4 movies a week. That just stopped happening with Geek Nights. But that wasn't the reason we switched. The reason was I loved Penn Radio. It was like the best thing ever. And Scott loved Penn Radio.
Penn Radio was good.
And
after when it started repeating itself, it was
but after like you get listener fatigue, and I remember it got to the point where I listened to Penn Radio every day, and then it got like I started not liking it, even though the content was great. I just couldn't. It was like it started grating on me. Kind of like if you listen to the same song over and over again, it starts grating to you. Geek Nights has this kind of specific format, and if you listen to us every weeknight for a year, you're gonna start getting Rim and Scott fatigue. And I would get Rim and Scott fatigue. So we wanted to keep the show high energy. We wanted to keep the show good. And I felt like if we kept doing 4 nights a week, the show was going to get tiresome and it would have died in the end.
It also really helped that, when we came, when we were all tired doing the show after work, we didn't feel that the show was as great as it was when, we were really excited about doing the show. And we also, we sort of used up all our ideas and we were really scratching for ideas now even.
Plus there were shows where we would be like so tired that we both had nothing and we'd argue for like an hour before the show about just stupid crap because we were so tired neither one of us actually wanted to do it.
Yep. So we're getting better shows, we're using up our ideas more slowly.
Plus, the website didn't come to fruition because Scott lost his job. It was pretty much like we were on our way anyway.
This website actually was designed a year ago we started working on it February of 2008.
Yep.
Was when we actually really, really started working on it. So, I just sort of had it done for mostly done for quite a while, and it still needs a little bit more polishing.
Yep, but a Theory Shadow.
Someone's spamming in there. Check that out.
There are a lot of people spamming. I've been not saying anything about it, but I'm proud that enough people have decided that they not only know about Geek Nights, but they want to come in and like just shitcock all over this. I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm more flattered by that than I am angry.
Yeah, it's like, I don't care if they spam this stupid chat room, it doesn't bother me, but it's sort of interesting that this is so important that it's
I want to
spamming.
give some props to a Theory Shadow in the forum, because when I moved out of Colony at RIT for like 6 months to work at IBM, and I just kept paying rent that time, and Scott kind of lived there alone, And then I moved back. I went to school for a year. Then I moved out for good, and I lived, out here working for IBM.
But I was still at school for 2 more semesters, I think.
Oh, Geeknights Live is apparently on the front page of Ustream right now.
Oh yeah, way to go! Let's get some attention, people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we had our friend Kevin, who was he was one of the friends of the front row crew. Like, we hung out with him a lot. We met all these freshmen at RIT one year. They were all awesome. So we had this cadre of awesome freshmen we were hanging out with. We were playing D&D with them. We ran this awful D&D game. Remember that? That was the worst D&D
Which
game.
one was the awful one?
The one where it was a pirate game.
Oh, see that one could have actually been good. The problem is that we had so many players, right? That we sort of split up the GMing, and I would plan a little bit, but you were just sort of off the cut, whatever,
Yep.
and it was totally conflicting. And when it was just at a certain point, and they were just oh fuck.
Plus, we were always distracted by Carla and all the people at RWAG, and it was crazy. But Kevin was this cool guy, and we lived with him. Well, Scott lived with him in Colony. He basically moved in with Scott, left all the furniture there, and I moved away. And he pointed out that we have the love seat from when we lived there. We left the couch because it was disgusting. It was white when we bought it. It was not white by the time we moved out.
No.
Kevin pointed out
Dude, I can't gonna move the camera because it'll take a while to get it back in position.
Kevin pointed out that they totally destroyed that couch with fire, and you know what? That was the only solution to that couch.
It was the only solution to that.
That couch was awful.
Oh, there's actually a somewhat serious question. He said, with Easter fast approaching, many atheists have families which celebrate it religiously. Would it be hypocritical for an atheist to join the festivities?
I celebrate Christmas. I celebrate Hanukkah.
I celebrate, what's wrong with celebrating a holiday? I mean, it's just, are you Catholic if you celebrate St. Patrick's Day what if someone is Irish and atheist and on St. Patrick's Day they get drunk and eat the corned beef and cabbage and a green bagel? Is there something wrong with that?
Yeah.
No, that doesn't imply any irrational beliefs. It's not hurting anyone, so... there's nothing wrong with, ritualistic behavior as long as you recognize what you're doing and, you don't, let it become dogmatic and such, it's fun to do a lot of these things.
Yeah.
That's why people do them,
Well, like Loganator pointed out, it's like being a Jew in culture only. I mean, you look at a lot of surveys, and a lot of people who are Jewish ethnically or culturally...
A lot of the younger ones, at least.
Yeah, are not religiously Jewish, but they still keep the culture. And I know a lot of people who are atheists, but they keep the Catholic culture, and they still are active in the church because they have friends there.
Yeah, putting up a Christmas tree doesn't hurt anyone. It hurts the tree if you use a real one, right?
It's only hypocritical if
and it's fun to put ornaments on it, and your whole, family and friends can get together and make and share ornaments, and you can all share and have a good time putting presents under the tree. Does that hurt anyone? Does that have any, it's tied to a religious thing originally, kind of, but who gives a shit?
I guess the only, as an atheist, just the only thing that ever bothers me, the only thing hypocritical, one, is if you say you believe when you really don't. Mm-hmm. And that's the only thing that's hypocritical. What else can I say? Celebrate whatever holidays you want.
Yeah, do it. You make up your own. You can celebrate, Festivus,
I mean, I've been to church several times in my life, and the only thing I do is I don't kneel and stand and sit and pray because I don't believe in any of that stuff, but I still attend and I'm polite. I do, Actually, I kind of like Catholic masses. I think they're cool because, one, I went to a parochial school. It was all Latin mass.
Yeah. I mean, go to a Reform Jewish temple, not an Orthodox one. Go to a Reform one.
I'll be right back.
You going somewhere?
I need a little more wine.
And it's a fun time. They sing fun songs and do fun dances and all that sort of stuff. It's good times. All right, let's look for something else for people to talk to.
You can handle this for a bit. I've been staring at these chats for a while.
Wow, people are basically saying nothing.
Well, there's been a lot of shitcockery going on in that forum.
Oh, the stream is down, internet's broke, something, people are saying.
How is the stream down?
I don't know, I'm gonna take a look.
I didn't do anything.
I didn't do anything either. Oh, I guess it is down. Wow, something happened.
Huh. We'll bring it back up momentarily, even if we have to start a new one. Yeah, it looks like a lot of people dropped the chat as soon as Easter came up. That's really interesting.
Oh, I think it's working again.
Might have been an internet blip on our end. I don't think it was on our end, because we have a pretty sophisticated network in this house, actually. So how's it going, kid? Oh,
Is it
wait.
working again?
Nope, it's not updating.
It's not.
Oh, now it's updating. Huh.
Okay, it's working
working.
again. That's good. All right. Wow, it's interesting. You can see like these people coming in from like the front page of Ustream saying like these really horrible things. It's like what
Wow.
Look at that.
It
Tells you a lot about the internet.
It's like as soon, well, kind of like look at you.
It's like we got 100 listeners, but then there's like this fluctuating number of.
It's weird. Like I think what really illustrates it is YouTube comments. Like how come YouTube comments? Like who is posting YouTube comments? Oh, I guess I filled my wine glass while the stream was down, so it came back and my wine glass was fully.
Oh, we should have done it on purpose. Oh, dang, that was. Damn. Oh well.
Wow, that's amazing though. That who are all these people on the internet who are just like
They really
looking-
have nothing better to do? I mean, go play a video game. Seriously, that's instead of posting racial slurs in some random chat room. Not that I care. I mean,
Yeah, you're probably gonna want to tweet us or chat us or something.
yeah. I mean,
But-
I'm looking at the chat. You can tweet Geeknights or you can tweet APRECHE. It doesn't matter.
Yep. So someone asked what kind of wine I'm drinking. My favorite red wine is Chianti. I drink Chianti all the time. I don't know what else I can say other than that I really like Chianti.
Someone says, "What animes are you watching?"
We were trying to watch more Michio and Hachi.
Well, we were trying to watch that, but there was a subtitle issue. I'm always trying to watch more Galaxy Express 3.9, but I found out they stopped fan subbing it because Crunchyroll's got it. But I can't see enough of it on Crunchyroll without joining Crunchyroll. So it's like, what the hell?
So apparently people really wanted me to be here without pants. If we had the table taller, my idea was, because this is what I wore to work today, like, my plan was just to take off the pants I wore to work and have boxers on, but you wouldn't be able to see because the table would have been covering it, but...
Yeah, if I turned the sensor off, maybe I could turn it on. Will that work? Maybe that'll help keep some of the spam down a little bit. I don't know.
How does the sensor work?
Basically, you just turn it on and off like that. I don't know if it works or not, though.
Ooh, what wines, liquors, mixed drinks do you recommend to a newbie at drinking? So, you're trying to get into drinking? Should we do a show on that, getting into being an alcoholic?
Yeah, don't.
Nah. Wow, look at everything's censored now. Wow.
Yeah, right?
That's interesting. So now we just have a bunch of censored spam.
Mm-hmm.
Drink nights. If you want to try alcohol, try, I don't know, like try one of every classic standard mixed drink.
Yeah, here's, I don't know enough about it, but I can tell you this is pretty much common sense. Go to a liquor store or the grocery store, right? And buy wines or alcohols that have names you are familiar with, right? And then sort of, get sort of like, one of everything, maybe in a small quantity at a low price, right? If there's something that you recognize the name of, you never drink in any alcohol. Go drink a Budweiser, right?
Yeah.
It probably doesn't taste good, right? But you try it and see what it tastes like. And then, go and try, what is it? It's a Pilsner, I think, Budweiser?
Yeah.
Right? So I guess, then try another type of beer. Try, I don't know, what are the other names for them?
Well,
I don't know, but you get my point, right? Try one of every type,
Yeah.
see what they taste like. Try a whiskey, try a scotch, try a vodka.
My real recommendation is find someone you know who drinks alcohol but does not get drunk. Like someone who actually enjoys alcohol. Like someone who has a cocktail at 5 o'clock. But not your friend who, woo, with the red cups. And just tell them and ask them to make you a drink, and they'll make you a drink, and you'll find out if you like it or not. And tell them what you like or don't like about it, and then they'll recommend something else. Like I give someone the Manhattan, and they say, it's too sweet. Then I give them like a dry gin and tonic or a dry martini, that sort of thing.
You can also, you probably want to go, if you're gonna do stuff just like that comes in a can or a bottle, you can, you go to the grocery store. But if you want to try other stuff, you should probably go to a bar that has a good bartender with some friends and whatnot.
Yes, go to a nice bar, maybe either
not like a hotel bar, a place that actually, is kind of crowded, which means it has a good quality bartender. If they do tricks, that also means they're good.
It depends.
It depends. You can tell if they're tricks.
Just go to a bartender and say, just tell them straight up, I don't drink a lot, I don't know. What would you recommend? Help me out. Bartenders love nothing more than making a drink for you and telling you all about it.
Mm-hmm. And if it tastes like rubbing alcohol, that means that they're trying to get you drunk as opposed to trying to make it taste good.
Yeah, good drinks should taste good. If they don't taste good to you, you shouldn't be drinking alcohol unless you're trying to get drunk and then go nuts.
Yeah. So people want to know when this is going to end. When do you want to end this? 8:30, 8:45, something like that?
I don't know. This is kind of fun.
How long? We got to eat dinner.
Yeah. Well, we're stopping at 9 at the latest.
All right,
I'll
so
tell you that.
before 9, this will be over.
9 Eastern Daylight Time.
All right. So yeah, just keep sending in comments and questions for us to answer
So-
and such.
I'll answer one more alcohol question. That's it. My favorite mixed drink is a Manhattan on the rocks with Jameson.
All right.
You want to hit something?
I don't know. You got anything over there?
Any thoughts on the Nintendo DSi? I don't care about it at
The
all.
DSi is sort of a weird thing. It's like it's a little bit thinner, I heard, right? The screens are a little bit bigger, I heard. It's got the SD slot, and I guess you can download software. Right?
I think it's going to be big for homebrew.
Well, if they got to crack the slot.
Someone's
first,
going to crack it.
right? I mean, the homebrew cartridges, R4s and Cyclos and whatever, are actually a lot bigger than you think in the U.S. I saw just. There's people in the city, when you go in the city, on the subway and on the train, you see people who are not, they don't look like gamers and they have DSs or
Yep.
PSPs. They all have freaking, crack pirate cards now. I hardly ever see anyone playing a real DS game on the train.
It's weird how quickly it went from handheld games were unpiratable to all the punk kids pirate everything.
Yep. So I think that if they crack the SD slot on the DSi, I think that, people who have no interest in GBA games are going to get DSIs and use SD cards instead of paying out for piracy cards, right? It's going to really hurt the piracy card business. I think you're going to see some people try to sell the piracy software, but someone's going to have one that's free, and then no one's going to be able to sell it anymore. And so the whole business of selling Cyclos and selling R4s is going to go away because everyone's just going to put some software on an SD card and put it in that slot, and that's going to be it, right? I also think that, while buying and downloading software to the DS might be interesting at first, and there might be a few really good things to get on there, I think that in the long run it's going to become more like what's on the Wii, and you hardly ever going to the Wii shop anymore because it's like, the virtual console is overpriced.
Well, I have a feeling
and
they're
there's barely
not,
any good WiiWare
they're not
games.
going to let you, if you bought Mario 1 on the Wii, I don't think they're going to let you just also have it on your DS.
That would be nice. That might be
That
good.
would be the killer app, but they're not going to do it. They'll
They're
make
not
more
gonna-
money
they're
by
not gonna
reselling
do it.
again.
Yeah, they're not cool.
The thing is,
enough
I
to
feel
do
like
that.
most of the features on the DSi are aimed at the Japanese market and not at the American market, to be honest.
Yeah, it's definitely aimed at the Japanese. I think that the lack of a GBA slot on it, and the fact that it isn't significantly better. I mean, the DS Lite was a huge improvement over the DS, which is a huge improvement over the SP, which is a huge improvement over the GBA. Notice the GBA Micro didn't really do so well because it wasn't a huge improvement over the SP. I mean, it had a better screen, but it was kind of small and it only had GBA games, whereas the SP could play anything.
It would have done a lot better if it had come out a lot earlier, I think. Because I might have bought one because I was still playing a ton of GBA games, like, all the time.
Yeah. I think if the DSi had been the DS, it would have helped out a lot, but I really don't have a lot of interest in the, DSi. I mean...
Wow, there's a lot of questions
Yeah,
here
people
now.
asking us about the
Cyclo
config
DS
thing.
works on the DSi.
That's interesting. I guess that'll hold people over until there's a
Here,
non-hardware crack.
I got a bunch of quickies. Any chance on a Seinfeld Thursday episode? That's an easy one.
That's a good Thursday episode. We'll do
Done.
a Thursday
We'll do it.
episode on Seinfeld. We're going to watch a few more, just refresh our memories, watch some episodes, and we'll be good to go.
Favorite grinding games back when grinding games weren't an issue for us? I kind of always hated the grind, but I played The Realm, the first MMO.
It's actually weird that back in the day, I didn't hate the grind.
Don't hate the game, hate the player.
Because I had so much free time that the grinding didn't bother me. What bothered me was random encounters.
Yep.
And what bothered me is an imbalanced grind. I would play MUDs back in the day. There was one MUD I played, and it's like as soon as I got to level 100 something, it was at this point where it was like too hard to kill the next hardest bad guy, but the bad guy that I could kill didn't give me enough experience to level up quickly, right? And World of Warcraft solves that problem.
Yep,
right?
'cause the realm
you
didn't.
level up nice and smooth, straight up, and you never have that frustration.
Yep.
So the thing is now I have the problem of my time is limited. So I'm, now I'm frustrated by any grind, even if it's a smooth grind. But back in the day, any smooth grind was all good.
Yep.
Yeah, I know Achaea. That's a crazy
Plus,
mode.
Single player games, the grind, I guess there's the difference between leveling up in the course of a game versus being forced to grind through. Oh, that's a good question. Who designed the new Geeknights
Oh,
logo?
I should do this.
That's
okay.
not a new logo. First off.
Okay, so the Geeknights logo is not super new. There is a person named Brandon Kramer. His website.
Brando K.
Brando K. Yeah, if you search for that on Google, you should be able to find this guy.
He's a man.
He is the awesomest man. I think now, the last I heard from him, he's writing for AdultSwim.com, I think. You know, he doesn't, I don't think he works on shows yet, but I think he was, like, writing for the website or something like that. So, he's a pretty awesome dude. We met at Otakon and some conventions. He's got awesome art skills, and he did some awesome arts that we bought off of him, and then since we liked him so much, we asked him to design these logos for us, and he did so. And then, you know, we had our friend Kat Lee, who was a professional graphic designer, design the website around those logos, and so she, you know, sort of took the black and thing and, you know, put the white and blue over it and did all that other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this banner, I threw this together, like, with a demo copy of Photoshop, just barely, and I got it printed, and it worked okay, but it's a little too big, and I just took the logo and I kind of put a shadow on it. We're making much better logos and banners and everything now, so...
Mm-hmm. Someone says, what do you think the ratio of girl to guy listeners is?
I feel like there are more girls than guys, but at least girls...
I feel as if
Well,
I can't really tell
girls,
because I think the girls are less likely to interact.
But I feel like the girls that do interact are always... They always have a lot more to contribute than the guys. Sorry, guys.
I mean, if you look at if you just pick out the hardcore, like the super hardcore Geeknights fans, I
Yep.
think maybe half of them are female, and it's about half to half.
But look at who's
when you look
given
at
us-
like the forum as a whole, like all registrations in the forum, it's more of like maybe a 30-70 or a 40-60.
But look at
females.
who gives us, like, who has sent us awesome fan art or awesome things. It's all girls, like Ro and Viga.
And Mancoon.
Yep.
And the best fans are always girl fans.
Mancoon
right?
is so cool. But...
Yeah. The guy fans are not as cool. So
Sorry, guys.
yeah.
Yes, we know a lot of you contribute, but...
Yeah,
we-
there are plenty of girl geeks out there, and they are the awesome, you know? Alright.
More final thoughts? Yeah, we can do more final thoughts episodes.
We can do more fun. We have to watch some more shows.
What is your opinion on Super Dolphy?
Super Dolphy, I mean, it's...
You can handle this one.
Super Dolphy is a hobby. You can be into that. It's pretty cool, you know? You're making little, making doll. Do they make? Usually, you buy the dolls, right? But you do the hair and you do the clothing, and there's a craft to it. It's a very respectable and cool hobby. It's just as cool as any other arts and crafts kind of hobby. It's just sort of creepy. Some of the people in that community treat their dolphies as if they are real people, or they act in a very strange way, and that is sort of kind of scary, and it turns people away. But,
Ooh.
There's nothing wrong with the hobby itself. There's just a certain creepiness in that community. Sort of like the, furries. I mean, there's really, I have nothing against someone who, gets jollies from whatever they get it from.
Or even more to the point, I'll admit I really like a lot of anthropomorphic art.
Yeah.
A lot.
Well, I mean, Looney Tunes is anthropomorphic. Disney's
Well,
anthropomorphic.
technically, yeah.
Right? There's nothing wrong with anthropomorphic art inherently. It's art. It's just that there's a particular community, and a portion of that community acts in a creepy way, and so that turns people off of that hobby because they associate this creepy behavior with the hobby, and it's sort of if you're a smart person like us, you can learn to disassociate these things and recognize them for what they are. They're asking about Conficker.
We could do a show on it. Honestly, no competent tech company or firm or person had any issue with Conficker.
Yeah, and people saw it coming so far in advance that I think that either A, the person who put it out there screwed up, or the person out there chickened out, and it was a good example of, look, we can see this virus coming in advance, and we can take care of it, and now nothing happened, and everything's all cool. And I think, from now on, for now, we're ahead of these people a little bit, and it's good stuff.
Yep. There's an interesting question here. Quote, do you think the FRC was inevitable, or was it a product of RIT's environment?
Surprise!
'Cause I feel like, I don't know if it was RIT specifically, but I think there's a certain kind of environment that can foster the sort of relationship that the front row crew formed that isn't necessarily possible in other environments.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a combination of the fact that RIT is a self-selected set. Like, the majority of the people there have very similar interests in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but that's true about a lot of other colleges. But like, not everyone who goes to RIT has this kind of thing
True.
happen.
But at the same time, of that set, notice how all the people in the front row crew were all into gaming, all into anime. We all had very similar interests.
It was. I think what it was is you went to the gaming club and you saw some people there, and you went to the anime club and you saw different people there.
Like, we had friends in the gaming club that didn't join the front row crew, but we totally, like, we had the same
but
gaming
front row
interests.
crew people were in both independently of each other. So it was sort of like you had the self-selected sample of like-minded people, RIT students.
Yep.
And then you had a sample of people who went to the gaming club,
Yep,
and then you had people who went to the anime club, and then there were people who went to both. And, so there was this even smaller group of people that saw each other a lot, and that setup, anyone who is, socially adaptable, didn't scare others away, was, friendly and got along well and had discussions with each other, and, saw each other frequently. There were people that I would just see over and over. While I was at RIT, I would see them every day.
Like,
and I'd be like, yeah, it's like you see someone every day, you're going to talk to them, you're going to get to know them, especially over the course of multiple years, it's going to happen. You just have to be the person who's in that situation.
Plus, it was a self-selected sample at RIT, and then it's a self-selected sample from that of all these different hobbies, and everyone in the crew, like Scott said, kind of was in all of those groups. I mean, we had a lot of friends in the gaming club. They didn't watch really anime or anything. They weren't into any other things, so they didn't really become crew. They were just...
Imagine this, right? What if you're a Geeknights listener, supposedly, unless you're one of these YouTube stragglers, right? And, let's say you're getting along in this community with other Geeknights listeners. And then independently of that, you listen to some other podcast. And you find someone who you didn't recommend to them this other podcast. They just happen to also listen to that same other podcast as you. So now you're in the same community with this person. You're in two different communities with the same person, right? Independently. You didn't tell them to go to this other one. So you're going to probably keep bumping into this person frequently. You're going to get together with them, and it's going to be, it's going to happen.
Plus, I think the isolation
if you're social.
Had something to do with it. The fact that RIT was this self-contained unit. It was like we were on a spaceship going somewhere. We were pretty much cut off from the world because we had one car among 20 people. So we couldn't leave campus. We had to stay on campus or walk or take the bus as a group. And we spent a lot of time hanging out as a group together in the lounges, just doing nothing.
Yep.
Because there's nothing else to do. We had no money. We had nothing. We played games together.
All right, some people were asking about what is the breakdown of the OSs the listeners use. They probably mostly use Windows, a bunch of Mac, and I know there's a bunch of Linux people out there.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, there's no such thing as an OS.
I got all three in this room right now, all right?
Yeah. Windows, Linux, Mac.
Yeah, so, there's no OS bias here, and I really don't
use
care.
whatever OS does what you need. That's the only question.
It's like saying, oh, do you know more listeners use hammers or more use screwdrivers? It's like, when you got a nail, use the hammer. When you got a screw, use a screwdriver.
Yep, kind of like the browser question. I mean, everyone seems to use Firefox or Chrome.
Yeah, I mean, we need to do some arts. Well, let's get some Macs to make the artist happy. Oh, we need to do some programming. Let's get some Linuxes, Oh, we need to play some games. Let's get some Windows.
No, this banner is not always up here.
No, it's not. We put this banner up here just now.
Yeah, I don't want to pan the camera, but the living room's pretty big, and there's over there is the piano and the other love seat and all this other stuff, and over there is all the board games, and over there is all the DVDs, and around the corner there is the table for snacks, and we have people over. And then there's the big window and the extra couch.
Mm-hmm. They want us to talk about the James Randi YouTube thing.
I didn't even...
Yeah, basically, Randy got banned from YouTube, all their videos, and the rumor is that it has something to do with Oprah Winfrey. But this rumor, I haven't seen any confirmation of it or anything like that.
Here's the thing, though. I know that the JREF would not have taken these down.
No, it was definitely YouTube pushed them out.
I'm filled with righteous indignation, but what can I do?
Yeah, I mean, everyone go write a letter to YouTube or send an angry email.
I'm sure this will be in news next time we do a Monday show.
Yeah, it'll almost definitely be in news once we have more reliable information about it.
Yeah.
But right now, it's just a bunch of rumors and indignation, so what are you going to do about it? All right. See how many people in something.
Have you ever tried a banana dipped in pizza sauce? No.
That's a Douglas or Doug Watcher. I like that. Mad props to the Doug Watcher.
What, that guy?
Yeah, whoever asked for that.
Yeah, that guy's been asking a lot of the good questions.
Oh, has he?
Oh, that's Kevin! That's a Theory Shadow!
Yeah, he's a Doug Watcher, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of fell out of touch with you, Kevin.
What's going on?
I should probably make you into the secret forum, but you probably already are, or you should have been and I forgot, so remind me.
Yeah.
No. You're not looking for another question?
GN has been around for so long, there's an old school, new school line now. I don't know about that.
We've only been around, 2005 we started.
We're not popular, really.
We have,
I mean, there's only 100 people in this chat. Leo Laporte has thousands. So
Yeah.
we're not popular enough. I mean, if you start listening now, right, if we ever do become popular, you're going to be old school stuff.
we have between, statistically, 1 and 5,000 regular listeners. And less than 10,000, probably, at most, at absolute maximum, 6,000 or 7,000 occasional listeners.
That's crazy.
That's like the absolute, statistical, it's hard to tell, so.
Yeah, I was in before it was cool. Guess what? It's still not cool. It's not cool yet. So you're all in before it's cool.
Someone asked, do you get anything, quote, has Geeknights fame brought you any significant benefits to your lives? E.g., free stuff, gifts, girls, all of those.
We've gotten... see, the thing is, there are other podcasts out there that do a much better job of getting listener gifts.
Well, we don't shoot for it. We don't try it, other than...
Well, they don't shoot for it either, but they behave in a way that gets it going on. For example, I listen to Comic Geek Speak, right? And these guys get tons of stuff from listeners. And the reason they get tons of stuff from listeners is because they always give back to the listeners big time. You know, they constantly play voicemails on the show, read emails. They're constantly giving mad props to people. You know, when their listeners do stuff, they always pimp them, even if the listeners are doing stuff that's not the greatest stuff in the world. They'll always,
Yep.
right? And as a result, they get a lot back, you know, from the listeners, always giving them gifts and helping them out and all that sort of thing, right? We don't play voicemails. We don't do a lot of email reading. You know,
I still owe them.
Geekbacks are very, very rare.
Like,
you
I
know?
got, the only time I ever, I guess I feel like I took advantage of the listeners. Not really, but I really wanted one of these, and I couldn't get one at PAX. I tried so hard, but I couldn't get one. And 4 listeners offered them to me, and 2 listeners sent them to me. I still owe the people who sent these to me a gift box that I kind of half put together and just never finished. But other than this, I don't know, I haven't paid for a convention since 2002.
Yeah, not paying for conventions is very nice.
Anime Boston's
But I
paying
mean,
for a
even
hotel
without
room.
Geeknights, we probably could have, you know, built up panels and all that
I mean, we were
stuff.
doing panels since 2002 at anime conventions.
Yeah, we were doing panels long before Geeknights. So
I get press stuff. Like, anytime I want press access to something, I just get it at this point, which is pretty cool.
yeah, I mean, I would do another hate mail show. Someone's asking about a hate mail show, but we haven't got any hate mail.
Not in a while. So,
I don't
step
think
up.
we've ever. The only real hate mail we've gotten was via you know, what's his name? The
Beefy? Or-
Admiral Beefy, who had a voicemail on Anime World Order that was to us. He
Yeah.
was pissed off at us, and he was just a ranting lunatic.
I was hard to tell. I to this day, I can't tell if that was a joke or not.
Mm-mm.
Either that's a scary guy, or that guy's really good. That guy should do a radio show.
Someone wants to know what are chances of attending a Geek Talk.
Geek Talks, I just don't have time for, to be honest. Emily's in them off and on. The one time I was in one, Emily was in my room instead of being in her apartment, and I happened to walk into the room, so I stepped in for a bit, but I don't have time. I don't even talk to my own friends, let alone you guys.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we communicate with you in the forums, we communicate with you with stuff like this, right? I mean, the Geek Talk is for listener solidarity. It's not for us.
We read every email we get, but we don't have time to respond to them all.
Yeah, so I mean, that's how it's gonna be. Alright, let's see.
I think it's winded up. Now, while the banner is not always up here, when we lived in Colony, we duct taped DDR pads to the floor. Those were there pretty much as long as we lived there. Until we moved out at the end of that summer.
That's a complicated question. I don't know if I want to answer that.
That's a
now.
really complicated question that would make a really good show.
Maybe.
I can do a show on that. I'm sure everyone's seen.
Rim's had his eyebrows trimmed.
Yeah, I had a unibrow forever, and eventually Emily convinced me to pluck this middle part. It hurts so much! Good God, I cry every time I do it.
You should just
It
go back to
sucks.
the unibrow.
I should. I am so hot. On Hot or Not, back in the day when that was the popular thing, I ended up with an average of, I think, 8.9. I haven't cut my hair in a year and a half.
You should probably cut it soon. It's getting a little.
It's getting kind of raggedy in the end now.
Yeah.
Yes, I have piercings.
We don't have tattoos, though, I don't think.
Nah.
No.
I've considered tattoos often. The only reason I never got one was that they don't look good enough yet, in my opinion. Like, they're not there. The technology is not there fully.
Yeah. I would like tattoos. The main problem I have with a tattoo is that it's irreversible, right? And I don't like to do anything that I can't undo, you know? It's like, you know, I'm willing to try all sorts of stuff, but anything that has a permanent effect is sort of like, it's probably a bad idea to do that so early in life.
If I could get it...
Because then you're going to have to live with that effect
If I
forever.
could get a clear ink that I could just, like, plug a USB stick in my arm and change the picture...
Exactly.
My whole body would be covered in tattoos.
I would just, you know, if I could digitally load, like, JPEGs into my arm, I would do that all the time. I would turn it blank, you know, most of the time, but, like, if I was, you know, I would have, like, a default one, or maybe if my mood changed, it would be awesome, you know, putting art on your body is totally great. But
You're wrong, whoever said that's not going to get that advanced. They have already designed tattoos that could be changed in real time. It's just the problem is that the technology is not there yet. Within 10 years, we will have tattoos that you can just change with some sort of light device.
hopefully.
I'm so sure.
Someone asked me to play Resident Evil 5. What system do I have that can play Resident Evil 5? We have a Wii, and we have computers.
What's under the TV? A Wii, a Switch, a Roku, an amplifier, and a Mac Mini.
Yeah, so we would need a 360 or a PS3 or something. Is Resident Evil 5 for the Wii? I don't think it is.
Oh, there are a whole bunch of good questions that just passed by real quick.
If I would lose a limb, would I have a weapon and a small computer built in? Yeah, if I lose a limb, I'm going all out. There's a great TED Talk with this lady who has no legs and talking about how her prosthetics actually give her superpowers because she can switch them up to ones that have different utilities. So she's actually like can be taller or shorter or you know whatever. And I would totally be the same way. If I had to replace some part of my body with a prosthetic, it would be loaded with awesomeness.
Kevin said, you keep forgetting to add me to the secret forum. I'd be more in touch if I had travel money. I'll add you to the secret forum. You deserve to be there. I just keep forgetting.
That's fine. Yeah, well, Mega Man is fully robotic. You know, he's not a...
He's like Tetsuwan Adam.
Stop asking the difficult question that requires an episode to answer. We want the short questions that we can answer in a few sentences.
Favorite comedians? I always liked George Carlin because he, I think, had a big effect on American culture.
I like Louis Black. He
Louis
makes
Black
me
is great.
lol the most.
I've met Louis Black twice.
We talked about On Live on our show yesterday.
I really like Eddie Izzard.
Yeah. I don't know.
Laser guitar? What? I don't know.
I don't know.
I think we're petering out here.
Yeah, we are petering a little bit.
There are a lot of good questions, but they're scrolling by too fast.
Yeah, let's give like 5 or 10 more minutes and then we'll...
Yeah, we're gonna wind this down. I gotta eat dinner. I got work tomorrow, so...
Yeah, I have to an interview tomorrow in the city that I have to go to.
I'll admit, I haven't found any new comedians that I like. Like,
There are a few... If you go to College Humor, you watch... They do stand-up videos on there, and most of them are bad, but once in a while, they're pretty good.
Yeah, it's just... It's tough to be a good comedian. Like, maybe 1 out of a million comedians is worth listening to.
Mm-mm.
No, I'm not telling you about the secret forum. Someone asked here, will there ever be official Geeknights parties at summer conventions? No. I'm done with that. My days of running parties at conventions are over. It is so much... Geeknights takes 1/10 of the work that convention parties take. I will never have time for that again.
Mm-mm. People want more Geek Profiles episodes. I've seen that go by a few times. We've been trying to... I wanted to do some more, but the thing is, Rim always goes... You know, it's usually the day of that we think to do it.
And I gotta get up at like 4:30 the next morning and go to work. So
we'd have to record it in advance or something like that, you know? We couldn't record it on the Thursday.
If presented the opportunity, who would you apprentice under? Robert Koo. I just want that man to tell me what to do.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Who would I apprentice under?
James Randi. I would love to take... Like, if my job could be to take over the JREF, I would do that without question or
Oh,
thought.
that's a good one. That's
Like,
a
I
real
would
good
dedicate
one.
my life to that.
I might see, the thing is, it's like, do I want to apprentice under someone who has skills in something I don't have? That way I could learn something new and be awesome at it? Or do I want to apprentice under, like, a programmer and then, like, explode my programming awesomeness all over the place? You know, and that's I think that's the real decision. If I could pick a dead person, though, I would apprentice under, like, Da Vinci, because that would be
Yeah.
just, like, the easiest. you
Maybe
know?
Imhotep. Depends if he really designed the pyramid or not.
That's
If
a
he
good
did,
one.
yes. If he didn't, no. I wouldn't say Alexander the Great, because he kind of just took over the stuff his daddy did. He didn't do anything interesting.
What's for dinner? We don't know.
Yeah, we didn't eat dinner
Want to
yet.
try to get a pizza somewhere? For, you know...
Actually, that pizza place down the road went out of business. There's a sign reopening again as a pizza place. And I was looking at it like, and this Mexican guy walked over and he had his daughter. And he was like, yeah, I bought this place. I'm opening a pizza place. And I was like, good luck, man. I will try your pizza. Good luck.
Wow. Let's try this place on Beacon Main Street. We should actually just drive over there and get slices, I think.
Oh, I need at Poppy's, but I don't think they're open this late.
No, this is the Nova Roma place I want to
Yeah,
try.
but Poppy's, it's just burgers. It's
Maybe
like
we
a...
could try there, too. Actually, isn't the sushi place open late?
Yeah, I think it is. Well, we learned that the Charlie Brown's is open till 1.
Rim said he figured out how to do a Skype call-in. The big problem with doing a Skype call-in show, which we would really like to do, actually, is the screening. We would need like a setup for someone else off camera
I can
to
do it.
screen the call.
We have a really fancy mixer, so I could do that. We need a third person. What we would probably do is do it on like a Saturday morning sometime, and then we'd edit it and put it on the show. So you'd hear it not live, but there would be a live equivalent on like Ustream, I guess. Kind of like this.
Yeah, it would basically be just like this, only we'd have some buttons where it'd be like, next caller, and you would hear the voice of the caller.
And like, I'm not going to edit this too much
And we
for tomorrow.
wouldn't be paying attention to the chat pretty much at all. We would
But
only be paying attention to the caller.
If we do a call-in show, I would heavily edit it. I don't listen to any podcasts anymore.
I don't listen to any gaming podcasts anymore.
I listen to It's All Politics from NPR. I listen to Dave and Joel every now and then. And I listen to
I actually stopped listening to Dave and Joel.
Anime World Order occasionally.
Not that I didn't like them, I just didn't. I listen to Anime World Order, Twit, ESPN, Floss Weekly, and I'm watching like TED videos, right? I have this,
Yep.
It's a video podcast technically. I got the Onion video podcast, not the audio one.
Oh, that's really good.
It
I
is
love
really
that.
good.
Geek Profile of Dave Riley and Joel White. In the years we've been podcasting and been kind of internet friends with Dave Riley, I have had maybe 15 minutes of total contiguous conversation with that man.
Yeah, he's actually surprisingly difficult to talk to for a significant amount of time.
I mean, I love Dave Riley, but he is scatterbrained. I think he said he has ADHD.
I don't
but
know.
I cannot have a consistent conversation with him for any period of time. I've tried. I like him, though.
Let's see. One day I will go to the San Diego Comic-Con before I die, most likely.
As a sysadmin, are there any tools you rely upon heavily?
SSH.
VI,
VI and SSH.
tail-f,
That's not a tool.
tail-f pipe grep something.
Grep, I guess, maybe.
Yeah, no, seriously, what I rely upon primarily is tail-f pipe grep some regular expression.
Why don't you use, like, there's like a... Is
No,
it
actually-
called, like, Super Tail or something?
No,
It's
no,
like,
no,
it's
no,
much
no,
better
no.
than...
I say tail-f. We actually have our own proprietary tail
Oh,
that will...
okay.
We have all our system demons, and if you just type the name of our demon, it will tail whatever instance of that demon I want.
That's a good one.
And I can
It's all alias powered, or...
I can also do an equivalent of this that will basically, on its own, go back through the logs an arbitrary amount of time and find certain... We have log channels. So like channel 3, like every line that says 03 is for us. 10 is for like customer support, so I can see what everyone else is seeing.
Okay, so someone's asking best Firefox add-on, right? I want to talk about this. This is something that keeps coming up, right? People will come up and they'll ask me, what are some good Firefox add-ons? I just got an iPhone. What apps should I install? These sorts of questions, right? What are some really good apps? What are some really good widgets for OS X dashboard, right? This is the wrong question to ask, right? You do not think of things in this direction. What apps do I install? Bad way. No. What you should do is instead say, what do I need? That's the question you should ask. What do I need that I do not have, right? As soon as you figure out what you need that you do not have, then you can go and find an app that satisfies the need. Don't go around just installing a whole bunch of apps just because they're cool or whatever, right? Think of what you need and then meet those needs with appropriate tools. Don't go get this giant toolbox full of tools you're never going to use and are just cluttering up your iPhone or your Firefox, all right? Don't think in that direction.
Yep. I use 3. Adblock, Delicious, and Parkit. That's it.
I use Adblock, Delicious, and there's some. I use a lot of developer ones, like Web Development Toolbar and Firebug, but those are only for development, so most people don't need those.
Yep. Someone's asking Scott what language of choice. Use whatever language fits whatever task you're doing.
Yeah, just like we said with operating systems, programming languages are tools.
A real programmer. It's not a matter of what languages you know. It's a matter of, do you know how to program? If you do, you can use any language.
I can use any object-oriented programming language. If you came up with a new object-oriented programming language today, and there was a book about it, you had documentation that was good, I could read that documentation and write a program in that language just right away. I wouldn't have any problem with it whatsoever. It doesn't... I don't have to learn a new language. The only, the big differences are syntax, right? And libraries and those sorts of things. And as long as I have documentation, it's all good. So figure out what your project is. What are you trying to make? And then find the best, language or framework that does what you need to do. And you'll find on different projects, you're going to use a different language. You're going to use a different framework, a different library. And that's how it goes. So learn the fundamentals of programming, and then you should be able to use whatever tool you're going to need. You mean when you're a carpenter, you don't just say, "What tool do you learn how to use?" "I learned how to use the hammer." Well, when it comes time to screw, right, it's not going to work out. Carpenters learn how to use any tool, right? If you gave a carpenter a brand new carpenting tool, he wouldn't have to, learn how to use it. He can just sort of look at it and intuit what to do with it, because he's a carpenter.
Unless it's the whole hog.
He knows how to carpent.
If it's the whole hog, you might have trouble.
Maybe, but you see what I'm saying. We've said this many times before.
Yep. Someone has a good comment. You guys, it's not really a question. It's just it's a thank you to us. So, you guys gave me some really valuable and honest advice when I was stressing over exams. Just want to send my thanks. See?
Yep.
Oh, I guess people have noticed this. I brought it down. I bought this at an Otakon a while ago, and I think it's the cutest thing ever.
Yeah, Rim has sort of this thing where when he knows he's going to be on camera, he sort of intentionally does corny things. So he intentionally brought that downstairs.
I collect plushies.
I have a bigger plushie collection than Rim does. See, now you've got him going. He's going to start I might do freelance work. I don't really know what I'm going to do at all. So if you want me to do freelance work, if you have some work for me, call me up and I'll, we can see what goes on. Great. Now we have a plushie fest.
So these are not all of them, but these are the best ones. I gotta bring these up. I have the Hachiroku from Initial D. I really like this.
That's a pillow, I think, technically.
Yeah, but it's also a stuffed thing. Yeah. The story of how I got this cactuar was not easy to get. These are now common again, but there was a time when these were rare as fuck. And there was almost a fight, but I got it. The dragon from Brave Story. I cannot express how cute I think this is. This is possibly the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. And the Tachikoma. What more needs to be said?
Yep. I got a whole bunch upstairs. I have a...
well, you have that Poliwag.
I have a Poliwag. That was, oh god, I think it's a Poliwhirl, technically.
Yeah, I guess
I've got a chicken from, Cow and Chicken. I've got a Charmander. I've got Cthulhu. I've got Calcifer. I've got,
the Calcifers.
Kitaro.
Oh, right, that Kitaro with also his dad.
With his dad.
Kitaro.
I've got, I don't know. I have like a little manta, like a stingray. It's a little tiny stingray guy I got from an aquarium once.
Yeah, we've got a Cthulhu. It's upstairs.
The 86 plush was bought at a convention.
I think it was Otakon 2003.
I think it's Otakon 03. We've got that.
I carried around the con for the entire con. I always had it on me for the rest of the con. I would plop down in a panel room and just sleep on it for an hour. I don't find Cow and Chicken funny at all.
It's not that good.
Sorry.
Someone wants to know what our closing music is.
Oh, should we reveal that?
No.
Nah.
No.
The only people who know, if you want to try to figure it out, the people who did a guest episode of Geeknights a long time ago, involving...
I don't even, but they probably don't remember even.
Yes, but I told them, and I gave them the song because they kept asking about it.
I think someone once guessed it.
If anyone guesses it, you're awesome. The thing of the day music...
I think someone once talked to me and knew what it was, and I told them... I don't remember if I told them not to tell anyone.
Alright, I'll give everyone a hint. The thing of the day music is from the same thing that the closing music is.
That's true. Someone asked what the oldest computer hardware we have is.
The Apple II?
I got an Apple II GS, is pretty old. I also have a Mac Plus that has 1 megabyte of RAM.
Oh, they all know who it was, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all know.
Yeah, people know what it was.
Okay.
Someone's smart. Okay.
If you can tell me what album it was from.
Yeah.
Alright,
Why people are repeating themselves now. All right, let's do. When my clock here says 8:45, I'm gonna close it out.
Alright, so we got 4 minutes.
We got 4 minutes here.
So, if you have a question you really want us to answer, now is the chance. This is it.
Oldest board game, the one you've owned the longest, not the one that is the oldest.
Oh, I was
That
about to go
Risk
grab
is
one.
pretty old. I mean, I have some board games I've owned almost my whole life.
I have an Uncle-
Dino Bones.
I have an Uncle Wiggly that was my mom's when she was a kid.
Wow, that's a pretty old one.
Yeah.
I've got a game. It's basically, remember the Hangman game, Probe? That was my mom's.
Yeah, that's a good game.
It's basically just Hangman. It's versus Hangman.
It's a good game, though.
That's a good game to make on the computer. For
Yeah.
Probe. That game is probably, no one owns the rights to that shit. Will it be, no, the forums are staying the way they are. I mean, what are we going to change on them? How they look?
Yep. The oldest game that we own, if you want to answer the broader question, probably chess or Go.
Best Beatles album is Rubber Soul.
Favorite Final Fantasy? Not Crystal. Well, Crystal.
6.
Yeah, 6, maybe 4.
Yeah. Also Legend 3.
Legend 2.
3.
2.
Dad turns into a stealth bomber.
My favorite thing at a convention, because people always go woo, is to call them out. Like, you guys go woo when I say anything you like or
We
recognize.
don't have Shogi. Should we get it? I don't know how to play it.
We could learn. I've heard a lot of people say it's hyped. It's not that good.
I thought it was very similar to chess. I'd much rather play the Star Wars.
Yes, Celeste for the
table
win.
game.
Mancala is not that great of a game, to be honest.
Yeah, I got Mancala. I had Mancala. I actually learned how to play it very recently on my iPhone because there was a free app. And then I was like, oh, that's how this game works? Okay, we got like 2 minutes here.
Led Zeppelin or Deep Purple?
Zeppelin. Not that Deep Purple isn't awesome. I didn't see the Watchmen movie.
Do another live show.
We'll do another live show someday.
No, I'm not going to take my pants off.
I like lolcats.
Everyone likes lolcats.
You may be running. Didn't we do an episode about running a panel?
I don't know. I'm toying with the idea of doing a how to run a panel at some convention in the future. No, I'm not still watching Birdie Decode because my Etymotic earphones, the filter's busted, so I'm waiting for the replacement to be sent. I'm not going to answer the question from Roe because I don't want anyone else to scoop me on it. I called them and they didn't answer. I'm still trying to do that thing. D&D 4th Ed is just World of Warcraft.
We played it at PAX. We
It's terrible.
talked about it on a show.
It's great if you want to play a tabletop World of Warcraft. Otherwise, it's terrible.
We'd need to do something different if Emily was on the live show.
Do the show drunk as all hell?
No.
You realize me drunk is not that different from me sober. I just smile.
We
a lot
haven't
more.
done a show on Princess Tutu, have we?
I thought we did.
But we both watched the whole show.
No, we did a show where I had seen it all and you'd seen some of it. We did a review, not a final thoughts.
We could do a final thoughts on Princess Tutu.
I think Princess Tutu deserves a final thoughts.
That's a good one, yes.
That's a good show.
All right, I think we're running out of time here very, very quickly.
I
would get a 360 if I had an HD TV. The thing is, the 360 is kind of old, so I'd probably, if I did get an HD TV, would probably wait around until there was like a 460, right?
Yes, we'll do a There Were 11 final thoughts. It needs to be done.
Yes.
Anime Expo, I have no
Probably
interest.
not going to Anime Expo unless it's just really convenient.
Yes, Bakano is great. Yes, I love Emily too. Giant Robo. Someone brought up Giant Robo.
We have Giant Robo, we just haven't watched it. We have never done a Cowboy Bebop final thoughts.
We might not have.
I never watched all of Area 88, but you can play the SNES game, and I think we're out of time.
Wait.
Wait,
We're
what?
talking about Giant Robo.
So we're gonna play with this...
No, I do have the... I bought this at Otakon for like $15. It's all giant robo in the Eye of Vogler.
Yeah, but you could have gotten. There's a better slim case box. That one is kind of poopy.
The thing is, it was so cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, the Eye of Vogler.
I know, but it's you could have gotten cheaper if in the slim case.
Yes, any of you may groom me. God.
Come to a convention. All right, I'm gonna stop the recording part
Yep.
at least.
We're done.
This is it for the show. We will do this again someday.